Good evening, my friends. COVID meets none of the criteria of an eradicable disease. We have no technology to completely stop the disease. Not lockdowns, masks, plexiglass, not even the vaccines. At best, these technologies postpone the inevitable, as Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and Shanghai, once touted as zero COVID success stories, have learned with enormous case surges in the recent months. The public's trust in public health is a precious commodity that should be preserved with an ironclad commitment to truth-telling. Unfortunately, truth has not been preserved, and the fact that we have 2 years of data clearly showing us what works and doesn't work, the Biden administration continues the COVID theater. Even though a federal judge struck down the CDC mask mandate, the Biden administration still recommends wearing masks in public places and ignoring the decision made by the judge. Now, if wearing a mask was the solution that prevented the spread of COVID, and 2 years of data proved it, and everyone trusted public health, would you really have to mandate it? Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together. After more than a year of struggle towards complying with the suffocating CDC mask mandate in public transport, a massive relief is now on its way. U.S. District Judge Kathryn Kimball Mizelle recently abolished the CDC mask mandate by stating it exceeded its statutory power given to it under Public Health Service Act of 1944 and has openly violated the Administrative Procedure Act in an arbitrary manner. The judgment was made as a response to a lawsuit filed by an NGO named Health Freedom Defense Fund for imposing a mask mandate on airplanes and other forms of public transportation that was still in action since February 2021. The enormous 59-page summary judgment revealed that the CDC exceeded its power when it failed to give notice to the public before imposing such arbitrary action. A public comment was also necessary because the rule was preventing free choices and action of people by threatening them with civil or criminal penalties. During the argument, CDC claimed that the Public Health Service Act provided them enough powers to regulate the travelers. However, the judge responded by stating that the act gives them the right to regulate individuals only if they are traveling into the United States from abroad or are reasonably believed to be infected with a communicable disease in a qualifying stage. The CDC also defended its actions for not providing the notice by referring to the urgency of the situation after noticing skyrocketing COVID cases in the country. Surprisingly, the judge clarified that at the time when CDC issued the mandate, COVID-19 was going on in the country for almost a year, and the number of cases during that time were heavily decreasing. After CDC failed to justify their actions, the judge concluded the mandate exceeded the CDC's statutory authority, improperly invoked the good cause exception to notice and comment rulemaking, and failed to adequately explain its decisions. Because our system does not permit agencies to act unlawfully, even in pursuit of desirable ends, the judgment directly attacked the Biden administration's way of handling COVID-19 measures. Recently, the Supreme Court also quashed an Occupational Safety and Health Administration rule that directed millions of employees at giant private companies to refrain from entering the office if they are not vaccinated. Moreover, the Supreme Court was also astonished to find a rule mentioned in Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services that required healthcare workers to receive COVID-19 vaccines was completely left untouched. Now, before I tell you what the White House had to say about the judge's decision, let me take a moment to thank today's sponsor. Our sponsor for today's episode are the amazing and kind-hearted people who have donated to the show. So thank you all very much for helping me. And if you want to become a member and help contribute to the show, then click the link in the description below and become a member and help me on my mission to deliver truthful news. Now, the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki expressed regret after hearing about the judgment. She said this is obviously a disappointing decision. The Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice are currently reviewing the decision. We also think the mask mandate should be in place and that it's safer for individuals who are flying to continue to wear masks. A law professor from the University of Texas named Steve Vladek also showed dissatisfaction towards the latest judgment and offered his unsolicited suggestion that airports as well as travel hubs should fall under complete authority of CDC to ensure the containment of the virus. As CDC is empowered to prevent the spread of communicable diseases across the state lines, it becomes necessary to give them overriding powers to ensure safety of every citizen, which I might have agreed with if they had proven that they could be 100% trusted. That type of power cannot be given to any organization that can't prove without a shred of doubt that they are 100% trustworthy and have humanity's best interest in mind. Now, nevertheless, Brent Hathaway, who was the attorney for the plaintiff in the matter, accused CDC by stating that before COVID, CDC played a background role of advising and obtaining consent from the state public health authorities. It never played an authoritative role by jumping forward in public health crisis and directly telling people to follow their command on how they should use their property or behave themselves in public places. This action by CDC was authoritative, unacceptable, and unprecedented. As the judge had directed CDC to reverse their roles, airlines, ride shares, and other public transportation entities also are taking sufficient steps in spreading awareness about the same. An administration official from the Transportation Security Administration has also confirmed that they'll stop enforcing the Biden administration's rules mandating masks on planes, trains, and other forms of public transportation. In a recent discussion with the reporters at the White House press briefing room, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki took no time in initiating a verbal battle with Peter Doocy when asked a simple question. Doocy asked the secretary, "You continue to recommend that people wear masks. Why is it that we can sit here in the White House briefing room with no masks, but people can't sit in an airplane cabin with no masks?" She responded with the sarcastic comment by stating,
You said about this mask ruling out of a federal court in Florida that it's a disappointing decision, and you say you continue to recommend that people wear masks. Why is it that we can sit here in the White House briefing room with no masks, but people can't sit in an airplane cabin with no masks?
Well, Peter, I'm not a doctor. You're not a doctor. That I'm aware of. If you're a doctor, I wasn't aware of that until today. Right. Okay, not a doctor. Just making sure. I don't know.
She went on to clarify the question by referring to the green, yellow, and red masking zones. Furthermore, she pressed on to the point that currently they are holding this meeting under a green zone of masking located at the White House press briefing room. However, what needs to be taken into account is that every airplane is installed with a special HEPA filter, high-efficiency particulate air filter that ensures the air inside the cabin remains free from any harmful gases or particulates. Nevertheless, the secretary further requested the reporter at the meeting to spread her message of requesting people to wear masks while traveling in an airplane. She said the administration, as well as the CDC, is reviewing the, quote, unacceptable decision made by the district judge abolishing the CDC mask mandate and are looking for loopholes to file an appeal against it. And in an attempt to keep COVID theater alive, the Biden administration still recommends wearing masks in public places by ignoring the decision made by the judge. With White House and left-wing politicians trying their best to destroy the reputation of the U.S. Border Patrol agents with baseless accusations, the National Border Patrol Council President Brandon Judge has now revealed that Border Patrol agents did not use whips on the Haitian migrants when they tried to cross the border from Mexico to Del Rio, Texas. The incident took place on September 19, 2021, when hundreds of Haitian migrants suddenly rushed towards the border to enter the country. As the Border Patrol agents wanted to ensure the migration process ran smoothly, they were faced with resistance from the migrants. This caused great difficulty for the Border Patrol agents as there was a large number of migrants. When the photographer released the photos of the incident, it immediately went viral and convinced the White House and left-wing politicians to presume that the agents intentionally whipped the migrants to stop them from entering the country. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said, "We understand and agree that this has been an incredibly heart-wrenching issue. We have watched the photos of Haitians gathering under a bridge, many with families, and the horrific video of the Custom and Border Protection officers on horses using brutal and inappropriate measures. I don't think anyone seeing the footage would think it's acceptable or appropriate." President Joe Biden also responded by saying, "To see people treated like they did, horses running them over and people getting strapped, it's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay." A photograph from the incident posted by Brooklyn Dad Defiant on Twitter garnered around 20,000 likes and 12,000 retweets. Now, when the investigation was carried out by the Customs and Border Protection's Office of Professional Responsibility, it was found out that the White House, as well as the left-wing politicians, intentionally called long reins or straps that are used to control the direction of the horse as whips. The same fact is also confirmed by the actual photographer who was present at the site. He said he never saw agents whip anybody and further stressed that the photos have been falsely perceived by the people. Some of the news reporters on Monday asked Jen Psaki when would the White House apologize for their baseless accusations against Border Patrol agents. However, Psaki ignored the question at the beginning, but later responded by revealing that the matter is currently being handled by the Department of Homeland Security, and because of which she is unable to provide a credible answer. Now, the question is, what is a border security agent supposed to do when hundreds or thousands of immigrants are barging into the country without notice? Should he just stand there and watch immigrants pass by, or should he take sufficient measures to ensure the process runs smoothly? If we look at 2021 data, you will be astonished to know that around 2 million migrants came into the United States in just 1 year. Not to forget, 23 of those migrants are now on the terrorist watch list. This fact has also been confirmed by Chad Wolf, who is the former acting U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security. Despite hearing all the baseless accusations against them, the border security agents are still fulfilling their duty with the utmost care and determination. The Chinese Communist Party has now found a new loophole to control our country. And this time, their target is the agricultural sector, including the agricultural officials responsible for providing natural plant-based food to every citizen. The discovery was made after the U.S. State Department noticed the Chinese Communist Party purchasing a massive amount of U.S. farmland without facing any national security concerns by the administration. So how did the CCP manage to reach this far? Well, the loophole was hiding in our organization called USHCA, U.S.-China Heartland Association, created by former Democrat Bob Holden. The organization's objective is to develop strong ties between 20 states and the People's Republic of China. Surprisingly, the Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries, CPAFFC, co-hosted the 2022 event of the U.S.-China Heartland Association to take more control of our agricultural land by influencing the agricultural officials present at the event. What is more haunting is that the CPAFFC is an integral part of Beijing's United Front Worker Department, also called UFWD. So what is UFWD? The UFWD is a billion-dollar operation and a secret plan of the Chinese Communist Party to neutralize or destroy any dominating power worldwide that has the power to destabilize the Chinese Communist Party, which is why it helps its organizations like the CPAFFC to destabilize other countries and increase CCP's dominance worldwide. Not to forget, the U.S. State Department has now flagged the CPAFFC as an organization whose only objective is to control American officials and business leaders. And you'll never guess who is working with the CPAFFC. Well, to no surprise, the department has found that Bill Gates has a long-standing relationship with the CPAFFC on a professional and personal level. In June, he also delivered a speech praising the Chinese group. And that's it for today, my friends. Don't forget to like and share, and most importantly, join our member site and support the mission to deliver truthful information. I'd rather depend on the generosity of you, people I can trust, than ever be dependent on YouTube again. I'd like to thank you all for spending this time with me, and I'll see you next time.